Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient. Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us again on Resilient with Jen Chambers. Today, I'm really excited to introduce an episode, part one of a chat that I had with Cathy Beederman. She's a chronic illness podcaster and advocate, and she's very, very interesting, super fun. And I do leave you on a cliffhanger where we're starting to talk about some deep things. So I did that on purpose, sorry. We'll finish up that conversation next week. Thanks again for listening.
Okay, so what had happened was I've been doing a lot of interviews in December and in January. Also, there will be barking. I'm so sorry. You'll just have to cut that out.
Well, I was going to tell you there will be cats because I have 5 cats and they like to, I know everybody says that.
I have 2 cats and a
Oh, good.
dog, so I'm not far behind there.
Okay, good. I just, there's 5 people in my family, so there's 1 per cat. I feel like that's a decent
That's a good ratio. You have a good ratio. See, I'm only 1 human, so I have some work to do as far as like getting more humans. I'm trying to find a partner, but it's just not going so well. It's hard when you're sick.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, yes. That's a whole, God, that could be an entire podcast in and of itself.
Yes. I actually did a podcast episode about like dating as someone who's sick, and it's hard. And I did another episode with my friend Whitney, who is married, and it was about her husband and the relationship, and it was really, really good as well. So just being in a relationship when you're sick or looking for a relationship is interesting. It's a whole different ball game, as they say.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I'm 49, so I've been with my husband for like 20 years, but I always felt like I had to disclose, like, I have this,
Mm-hmm.
beforehand, just because before things get too serious, then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with me, there's no avoiding it. I'm using a mobility aid, and I can't go out at night for the most part, because my body just goes to sleep. Like I have trouble staying awake when it's dark outside. So I have to ask for coffee dates and stuff during the daytime. And once I know someone, we can hang out at night, like indoors, like watching TV, relaxing. That's different. But going on a date at nighttime, just not going to work.
Well, that's, yes, 100% understandable. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have a hard time doing that myself. I don't know, with my brain injury, I used to take big naps during the day, and that would help a lot, but I don't anymore. I should, but I haven't crafted my life that way. I should, come to think of it. So I should start over by saying thank you so much for being with me today, Cathy.
I have someone coming through. My lovely dog walkers here. So just a second.
Sure.
Hi. Oh, you are lovely. So just a second here of noise.
No problem.
And of course, Sadie doesn't even realize it because she's licking the couch. I have a senior dog, so she's very busy licking the couch. That's her job.
Of course.
Sorry, podcasting, yes. Okay, yes, it's all you, Jen. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much, Cathy, for being with me today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I am very excited to interview you for lots of reasons, but firstly, I wanted to tell all the listeners your podcast, exactly the name, where to reach you, and we'll repeat that at the end. But that way, people can have an idea of who you are and what you do.
Oh, thank you. So my podcast is called That Chronic Thing. It's been out for a little bit. I think I'm on episode 37, and it is about that chronic thing, specifically chronic illness. And It started as an outlet for me to talk about my own chronic illness, but I've also had on a lot of other people to talk about their chronic illnesses because while we all have a lot of themes in common, our experiences can be really different. And so, what I wanted to do was create a really casual environment where we could chit chat and relate to each other, but also put something out there that other people could relate to and provide some comfort and some community. I haven't really had experts on. I think I leave the experts to other people, but I have recently had some people come on for like book reviews and authors come on, and I'm so excited about that. Those episodes will be coming out soon. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to where the podcast is going in the next few months. Yeah, that's the podcast. It's just anywhere you find podcasts.
Right. Oh, that's well, and it's such an interesting podcast. Of course, I think it's fascinating. How did you get started in podcasting?
Oh, it was just like I needed a hobby. I'll be completely honest. And my cousin had been watching my Instagram and she was like, "You are really good on Instagram." And I was like, "No, no, I'm not. I don't have a lot of followers." But she said to me, she's like, "You really connect well with your followers, the ones you do have." At the time I maybe had 600 and now I have, um, I don't know, some over 900, but still that's really small. And uh, I still go on daily as if I have 10,000. I treat it as if I am some big content creator. And I go on and I talk and I connect and I'm really my authentic self. And the result is that I am in my messages and talking with a lot of my followers as if they're my really close friends. And we relate to each other and we connect and we have a sense of community. And my cousin knows that because I've shared that with her. And she's like, "You really need to do a podcast because you can reach so many more people," because that's what she does for her business. And so she was teaching a podcast class, and she's like, "You have to come to it." So I did. And I started out really slow. Um, Being a podcast host when you are sick yourself with chronic illnesses is something that is difficult because you have to temper the um or you have to manage the flow of the podcast with the difficulty of being sick. And so there are big stretches of the podcast where there's no episodes. I'm trying to be better about that now and have enough in the bank, they say, where it could cover me if I'm really sick for a while. But I think I've only been keeping up that flow for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. So the podcast has actually been out for a couple years, but only like the last 6 months is it starting to get really on its feet.
Well, that is something that is so difficult. I have that too as a podcaster. You have to be very flexible, and you have to ask your guests to be very flexible, as you were with me when I had to reschedule.
Yeah, for sure. We have lives.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's the energy you have to, and that's something that's common to a lot of people with chronic illness is you have to, first of all, you have to guess when you're going to have the energy, and you have to work. It's almost like you have to work as hard as you can when you can, but then I can't work too hard because then I'll have a flare. So it's
Yeah, for sure.
kind of like a make hay when the sun shines kind of thing, but not too much hay.
Yeah. Like, for example, I'm sitting up right now, talking to you, like supported by pillows all around me, because I like sitting up while I talk to you. But as soon as this is over, I'm going to just collapse into the pillows and just be in a full rest position. So we got to use the energy while we have it, and then it's gone.
Now you were talking about mobility aids. Is that something that you could elaborate on? What kinds of things do you like to use?
I use them all. So when I leave the house, I definitely need a mobility aid, and it depends where I'm going. So if I am going somewhere where I'm getting in a car and I'm going to have minimal walking, I can use a cane. And that is my favorite because it lets me feel most like my old self. Um, because I'm still walking. I have that cane and I can sit in a normal chair and still kind of masquerade as someone who is not sick. But if I'm going somewhere where there's going to be a long hallway or a lot of walking, I definitely need to be in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
And I have two different types of wheelchairs. I have my manual push wheelchair and I have a power wheelchair. And I tend to use my push wheelchair most because I realize that it requires so much less of me, like less cognition, less effort to decide where I'm going. A friend can step in and help, or my parents are with me tons and they just push me along. And that helps me save energy.
Mm.
I have such little capacity during the day. Like, this is the only thing I'm doing today.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds crazy because I
Mm.
sound very alert right now, but this is using up my very little battery allotment. Um, and and so if someone is pushing me, I get to save that energy. Whereas if I'm pushing myself with the power wheelchair, I'm using a little bit more thought.
Mhm.
Um, And so if I use the power wheelchair more, like if I was going out every day, it would be like driving, like it would be second nature.
Right.
But I don't get to go out that often because I'm mostly homebound from my illness. So yeah, those are the main mobility aids that I use when I leave the house,
Mhm.
I would say.
I ask because I have a favorite cane. I like to decorate mine.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, customize it.
Yeah, it's just fun like that. And I like to imagine, you with your favorite walking aid or your favorite mobility aid.
I
Those are
have
fun.
two different canes, one that I keep in the car and
Mhm.
then one I keep here in the house, so that I'm always with one. And they're just basic canes from CVS. Nate Berkus came out with a line of mobility aids,
Ooh,
and they're a little bit sharper. Like they don't make me feel too geriatric.
right.
So I just use those.
I know. I feel like someone really could make just a gigantic killing by making canes that aren't so geriatric. Like there's a market for us, right? I want a fancy one with sparkles. I want.
There is someone I know who makes sparkle canes, so I'll have to send you that account on Instagram later today. Like I do know someone in the UK who makes like amazingly beautiful canes. And the only reason I don't have one is because I want a cane that folds, and these
Yes.
canes do not fold, but I know exactly what you need.
I like the folding kind too. I like the fold, like you say, they're great to keep in the car just in case.
Yeah.
So, you know. So tell me about some of your favorite podcast guests.
Oh, let me think. Okay, so I had a guest who hopefully we'll be going live this week. I have a lot of editing to do. The pressure is on.
Uh-huh.
But their name is Jess. And Jess had a book come out this past week called um, Sick Enough. And Jess's book is about uh, a lot of things like generational trauma, privilege, being someone who is sick in a white body, but it also just talks a lot about being someone who is sick with chronic illness. And so I really enjoyed talking with them. And sometimes you just vibe with someone, and
Yeah.
so we had a great chat. And in the preparation for talking with them, I read the book. And it was very difficult for me because I listen to audiobooks. Ever since I got sick, I have not been able to read an actual print book easily. I can do it, but it takes just so much effort. And so what I did is I skimmed and I would find things that I was like, ooh, I want to dig into this. And then I would take notes and like I treated it a little bit like when I was in college, 20 years ago. Um and I was writing a paper or something,
Mhm.
but it allowed me to like really get to know
Mhm.
the essay. Oh, I should say the book is full of essays and prose. Um, and so there was this one poem that I really liked, and I wrote them a little uh, paragraph about my response, and then I read it to them during the interview. And seeing their response, here on Zoom was really beautiful. And of course, they had some words about it. So that'll be in the interview that comes out. But having that exchange with someone was really special. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. I love that. Now, it sounds like you do a lot of audio reading.
Yes.
Um, what kinds of, and I think that audio, I love reading things by audio. I do that often. Um, I have to say that some books lend themselves to it better. It's harder for me to listen to nonfiction that way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I am like deep in fiction. I
Mhm.
don't even try the nonfiction because, again, I need to take notes. I
Mhm.
just can't help myself, or I need to like
Right.
highlight it and
Uh-huh.
underline.
Yes. So who are your favorite authors? What kinds of things do you like to listen to
I
book-wise?
wish I had a favorite author.
Hmm.
Um, I just tend to bounce around. Here, I'm going to open up my Libby and tell you what I've been reading
First of
because
all, I love that. Libby is my favorite.
I
I'm
wish I had a memory and could like just tell you.
right.
Right now, I am reading The Rom-Commers, which is by Catherine Center. Um, let's look at what else has been on my timeline. Ooh, this is relevant. I read What Does It Feel Like by Sophie Kinsella.
Mhm.
And Sophie Kinsella is known for chick lit,
Yeah.
like Shopaholic series
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But Sophie was diagnosed with stage 4 brain disease, brain cancer.
Oh, I did not know
And
that.
this book is like a semi-autobiographical fiction piece
Mhm.
about a protagonist who gets diagnosed with brain cancer.
Mm.
And it's very short.
Mhm.
As an audiobook, it's only 2 hours. So I was able to listen to it quite quickly because I do like 1.2 speed.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because I was like, I want to hear what it has to say as someone who is met with medical trauma and I can relate. Like, of course, cancer is very different from chronic illness, but we share a lot of the same themes.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I listened to that. I listened to a man called Ova.
Mhm.
I loved that. And How to Age Disgracefully by Claire Pooley. Claire Pooley is maybe one of my favorite authors because I've read all of her books.
Mhm.
She is hilarious, and it's always an ensemble cast, and that is definitely really enjoyable.
Mhm.
I recommend Claire Pooley. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Those are all good things for my TBR list.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I like. And Sick Enough, um, by your friend Jess, I think. Um, I've been thinking about that a lot, and that's a wonderful title.
I think I got it wrong. Hold on, let me
Oh,
grab the book.
then you made up a good title.
I feel like there's one more word in it. Yeah, back in the pillows here.
I like your nest. Being sick enough. Okay.
And
Oh,
sick is in parentheses. So they
yeah.
said it could be like being enough, sick
Hmm.
enough. And like it is how you want to read it. And I
Hmm.
love this cover because in in the background you can see words like thin, sober, strong, whole, lovable, queer, real. Um, and it's just a really beautiful
Hmm.
artwork.
Ooh, sounds lovely. It's
Yeah,
interesting,
so it's not an easy read. It's an intense book. I would do
right?
it like a little bit while you're reading a lighthearted fiction book at the same time.
I was just gonna say that. I have a hard time. I think I think it's a self-preservation thing, but I'm really good at pretending like everything's okay. Oh, it's fine. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. And I do that with everything, with reading, with it's hard for me to read about it because then it's real.
Oh, for
And
sure.
you know, and I'm getting as I'm older, I'm learning about not living like that and about being more honest about those sorts of things. It feels galling sometimes when you're faced with, well, I guess I can't pretend anymore.
Yeah,
You know?
chronic illness will do that to you.
Hmm.
But it is amazing how you can continue with certain parts of life
Hmm.
and operate as if you're not sick. And then
Hmm.
every once in a while, the illness will come back and smack you in the face, and you're like, oh, I forgot. I forgot I have limitations. I forgot I have to operate a little bit differently or a lot differently
Hmm.
than the average person.
Yes. I have gotten involved in a little bit of advocacy. Um, I'm looking forward to doing a little bit more of that, but it's hard to do that again when you don't, you can't predict your wellness periods or your, the periods where you're going to have a lot of spoon. But
What kind of advocacy?
a lot of disability advocacy, like places in my town having, I talked to the mayor and the city council because they were putting in new cuts on the curb, making sure that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and I've only done that a little bit. I'd like to do that a little bit more.
Yes.
I have a person who's going to be a disability advocate who's going to come on the show a little bit later this year
Oh,
because
that's so great.
I want to know about more ways that I can do that rather than just writing my congressman or signing a petition, you know, something that's more real. And so I guess I figured I could start with my own town and now I'm looking at different ways that I can do it.
I mean, that's the way to do it, to start local.
Hmm. Hmm. Now I want to get back to before we pressed record, you were talking about your animals. Tell me about have you always been involved with animals? Did you get them at a shelter? I have so many questions about all your animals.
Oh, animals are my life.
Hmm.
I've been passionate about animals since day one of my life. Obsessed with dogs up till age 13 when my parents finally gave in. And even before that, I had like hamsters and fish.
Uh-huh.
As an adult, this is before I was sick. I was incredibly passionate and active in animal rescue.
Hmm.
And when I got sick, it was very tragic for me in so many ways. But one of those ways is that I cannot keep up my animal rescue, my advocacy work,
Hmm.
because like I can do some stuff on social media, but like
Right.
my hands are tied in so many ways. I used to
Hmm.
be so hands-on.
Hmm.
Uh, so anyway, yeah, I am incredibly um, in love with animals, animal oriented, especially dogs and cats, and our little domestic furry friends. Um, and but I love all animals. I'm a
Hmm.
little easy about it.
I like it that you have lots because it's hard not to be excessive when you have a welcoming heart like that. Of course, if they need a home, they can come here. That's how I
Yes,
got in trouble.
I would totally have more if I was healthier.
Mhm.
There was a time when I had foster animals, and you
Oh,
would come into my home, and there was like 6 animals here. There was a time when I had like 12 foster kittens for a week, and I was like, okay, that's too much. It's too much. Um, but it was normal to have 6 animals for a while.
mhm,
But 3 is probably my perfect number.
mhm,
That's what I've had just steadily for years.
mhm,
It is really hard these days because my dog is a senior, maybe a super senior. And she is just the love of my life. And taking care of her can be hard.
mhm,
She has dementia. She barks a lot at nighttime. She needs pee pads on the floor because she does.
mhm,
And that is okay. That's my girl.
mhm,
But it is really hard as someone who like has trouble bending over and standing up because I get lightheaded super easily. Of all people, I really need quality sleep because my battery only goes to 40% because of my illness. And with her keeping me up, it probably takes off 10%, my battery.
mhm,
So um, my animals are a little bit of a detriment to me, but what they give my heart is 100%. So
mhm. I love that. I I I like talking to people about their animals because it makes you look so joyful talking about them.
I've been told that. I've been told that like you bring up my animals and my face does like this huge shift and I'm like a completely different person. And I'm like, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I think animals are great for people if it works for you. In my experience talking to people with chronic illness is it's nice to have some being whom you don't have to explain everything to. You just can have comfort and give comfort, and that's all.
Yes.
I think I recommend to a lot of people if you can. I mean, I like cats, but any kind of animal I think is it's just so healing. And I've heard that both cats and dogs know when you're not feeling well. You think that's true? That they come and talk to you?
I would like to think that, like if I'm crying or if I'm feeling awful, but my cat Tucky, he just comes and kneads away on me. I'm like, don't touch me. I feel awful. And he's like,
Oh no.
need, 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 need. I'm like,
Uh,
stop touching me. And then he'll
oh.
nuzzle into my neck. So I wish that he was a little bit more in tune with what I want, but he is like, no, this is what I want, Mama. This is what I want. So I've created a monster because I had him since he was 3 weeks old. He was a foster. And I loved him so much that now he loves me so much. And yeah, that's pretty much the situation I'm in with him.
Well, I guess they do have their own personalities, I suppose.
Mhm.
Yes, I have an ongoing war with my cats that are peeing on the counter, so I get that.
Oh
Yes.
no,
Oh, it's been yeah. I don't know which one it is, but we're gonna find out.
that is horrible.
It's the worst, actually, it's the worst. And I also think that animals, for me anyway, animals have helped me with like I think that being chronically ill is like being in a constant stage of grief because you're always like getting something and taking it away. And so I feel like that's one of the ways I've dealt with it. I don't know, I don't know if that constant state of grief that it sounds like that's similar to you too.
I am constantly in grief.
Mhm,
Um, my biggest area of grief is my job or saying goodbye to my career
mhm,
because I'm too sick to work.
mhm,
And I stopped working 2.5 years ago, and it's been just very tragic for me because I go through this cycle of grief where I'm like, I'm okay, I'm okay. And then I'm like really not okay
mhm,
because my job gave me so much purpose and it gave me
mhm,
like identity and it
mhm,
it gave me so much happiness. It gave me connection with others. There was just this multi-purpose element to it.
Mhm.
And uh, then it was gone
Mhm.
too easily. So yeah, I had this 17-year career, and now I was about to say I have nothing, which of course is not true. But what I do have now, I'm trying to make on my own. And I'm trying to also make with like no money. Like part of me wants to invest thousands of dollars in my podcast and like get assistance and get a brand development coach. And it's
Mhm.
like, I can't do that. My life is different now. So
Mhm.
everything is like a little bit of like bootstrapping. Actually, is bootstrapping involve money? I don't know. But like everything is just me on my couch by myself.
Mhm.
It's different, and that is grief as well, because I come from like this amazing corporate background where I had resources, and so you trying to create my own identity professionally is a big loss.
Mhm.
There's just so much loss.
That's it for today. Like I said, I'm sorry I left you guys on a cliffhanger. We have a really interesting conversation coming up about chronic illness and grief, but we'll share that next week. Thanks again for listening. Please follow Cathy's show, and follow her on both Instagram and wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to her show, That Chronic Thing, and we'll see you next week.
Sometimes we have to start over. Sometimes we have to fight back. Sometimes it's all too much. Lost inside the black. Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient. Our stories are brilliant. We are resilient. Sometimes we need to lift the voices of those who've overcome and expose the ones that made the choices